Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're keeping it simple and doing what we do best. Just rambling while I add the finishing touches to the Takom StuG. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So I decided to at least throw the side rails on the kit. I was planning to load it up with stowage on the sides, maybe a jerry can or two, but I'm running low on epoxy putty, so the bedroll factory is officially shut down for now. And that kind of brings us to today's ramble topic. I'm trying to pick out some kits for future builds. You know, the important life decisions. Which models deserve to jump the line, and which one gets to sit in the stash quietly judging me. Idea number one is a big one, and it's going to require two kits. I haven't picked the exact ones yet, but this should give you an idea of what's rattling around inside my noggin. Why two kits, you ask? Well, the plan is a shadow box of a Russian tank factory. Picture this one. Full tank sitting in the center, and then half a tank on each end, like you're catching the whole assembly line in motion. Add some low lighting, some shadows, maybe a little asymmetric gloom, and it should really sell the whole factory vibe. So, how am I going to pull this off? Well, the plan is to build one kit normally with, most of the parts not attached since it's being built. And the other one, well, I'm basically going to saw it in half. Yep, two models, sort of, out of one box. Yeah, well, that's the idea anyway. Right now, it's still in the inside of my head phase, where everything always works perfectly and nothing ever needs sanding. But I'd like to start hunting down the kits for it soon. The sooner they're in the stash, the sooner the idea becomes real, or at least takes up more shelf space. These parts here are some old vintage resin pieces I had lying around, the kind where you got that huge casting block on the end, and you spend half the day sanding it off or sawing it off, and then doing the old endless knife scrape until it's good enough. Vintage modeling fun. And that brings me to idea number two, rattling around in the old noggin. A German tank with a V1 rocket strapped to it. Yeah, I know, completely unrealistic, but also super cool. I'm even thinking of using a 1/48 scale V1 just to force the perspective and make it look a little more believable. Well, as believable as a tank-launched V1 rocket can be. But hey, rule number one, it looks cool, it counts. But you know what? Maybe they actually had this thing because I actually found some photos of some models. Here, check it out. Now, that looks like a Tiger 1, which I already have sitting in the stash, so really all I need to get is the V1 rocket, or maybe a V2. Okay, maybe that's a bit much. Nah, two V2 rockets would be too much. Alright, I'm getting silly, too silly. But can you blame a guy for dreaming big and dangerously unstable? Finishing up the side rails now, and I may, and that's a very dramatic may, add the side armor. I'm not sure yet. Historically, that stuff didn't last long in the field, so part of me thinks, why bother? The other part of me thinks, oh, shiny plates. So we'll see. Maybe it ends up on the model, or maybe it gets tossed back into the stash to wait for a Tamai kit that actually deserves it. So stay tuned, my decision-making process is as stable as the plastic road wheels in July. I'm trying to get a feel for how I want to arrange the stowage on this thing. The spare tracks hang over just enough that I can't use the railing that came with the kit, because of course they do. So the fuel drum is just going to sit right on top of them, and like it owns the place. And the rest of the gear, we'll just hang out wherever it makes sense, or at least wherever it doesn't fall off, and when I spin the model around like a maniac. One model I really want to tackle soon is the Italy RSO. I've already got a set of model casting tracks waiting for it, because of course I do. It's just a neat little kit, and I'm thinking of turning it into kind of a modern post-apocalyptic build. You know, rusty, patched together, held together by rope, hope, duct tape, and whatever bolts the wasteland didn't steal first. Should be a fun one, and if I get that 3D printer, that will really help that build a lot. I'm pretty happy with the stowage layout, and once it's all painted up, it should really give the whole thing that lived in someone's actually drove this thing look. So now it's time for everyone's favorite part, taking everything back apart for painting. Now, when I first put these road wheels on, they went on sort of tight. I didn't think much of it at the time, but the moment I tried to take them off, snap. A couple of them broke, like they were made of stale crackers. Perfect. Exactly what you want to discover right before painting. So, if you plan to paint your road wheels separately, you may want to keep them off completely. If I could remove a wheel, I did, but if one fought me tooth and nail, yeah, it stayed right where it was. I'll just paint around it and pretend that was the plan all along. On a good note, though, the track removal went perfectly, so at least one thing today didn't try to self-destruct on me. Here's one kit I've had my eye on to pull me away from my usual World War II armor rut, the Syrian T-34D30. This thing just looks fun, like a why not kind of build, and the best part, I already have all the paints needed to nail that camouflage scheme, so this one might sneak its way onto the bench sooner rather than later. The Little Hawks are currently fighting over who gets the iPad, if you didn't hear that in the last segment. Meanwhile, when I was a kid, I was outside all day. I was lucky we even had an Atari. Remember playing Adventure and hunting for those secret rooms? Simpler times. Okay, back to the model. So far in this build, this is the only hiccup that I really had, and it's not really that much of a big deal. So now we need to fix that wheel. Trying to track down that one wheel that broke because I've got an idea on how to fix it. Instead of just gluing it and hoping for the best, an old trick to add some real strength is to pin the part. It's always the last one, right? Okay, super simple. Draw out both sides, slide in a little metal rod, dab on some CA glue, and boom, Bob's your uncle. Stronger than it ever was from the factory. Should hold up just fine. While I finished this off, there was one more thing I needed to sort out on this kit. The name totally escapes me for a second. Happens more and more these days. Those steel cables. Oh yes, tow cables. That's it. I usually just make my own using some wire and a drill. Quick twist, trim it to size, and it always looks better than whatever brittle plastic thing comes in the box. I'll paint those separately and add them on later. And speaking of painting, I need to hit a few spots with liquid mask, so the gluing points stay clean when I join the upper hull to the lower hull. If you don't do this, you're in for a real headache. CA glue and painted surfaces do not want to be friends when you're trying to get everything to line up. Here's one that'll let me relive a bit of my past modeling life, the Tamiya T62. I've actually built this one before, so diving into it again should be a lot of fun. I'm not even sure if it's still in production, so I'm really hoping the price isn't somewhere in the mortgage payment range. Fingers crossed it's still floating around for cheap. Using my little silicone tools to spread the liquid mask is working out pretty well. Honestly, these things are lifesavers. They're not just for shaping clay. Modelers can use them for all kinds of odd jobs. Repositioning parts, nudging tiny pieces, scraping excess glue, you name it. And the best part, you can grab a whole set at a craft store or online for pretty cheap. One of those small hobby investments that pays for itself in no time. All these models I'm mentioning are still in the planning stages, and I'm trying to figure out what extra bits I'll need for each one. Tracks, stowage, detail parts, you know how it goes. And if I am able to finally get that 3D printer, that will really open things up. Sure, it'll be a learning curve to get some clean prints, but honestly, that struggle will probably make for some fun videos too. And the prices I am seeing, oh my god, even the Black Friday prices, oh my god. I may have to get a second-hand one. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to have to go down the rabbit hole and do some research and watch a few videos before I pick one out, because I want a printer that not only works well, but is actually easy to use. So if anybody has any suggestions, feel free to leave them below. But once I got the right one, it should be a blast figuring out all the parts and accessories I can make with it. I used to love painting miniatures, and with a 3D printer in the mix, that door opens right back up again. I was planning on showing you the primer going on, but of course, oh my god, what's going on with me today? Life intervenes. Turns out I'm not just low on putty, I'm practically out of black primer too. I do have some German red brown I could use, but I really want to stick with the black so I don't have to paint every single road wheel by hand. Priorities, right? Once I do get some black primer in stock, I should be ready to go. I use those sticks to paint my road wheels. It works out pretty good. Those are cocktail sticks you can get at a supermarket. There's the black primer, which is empty, and there is the red-brown German color I could use, but I do want to paint the road wheels black. Anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. Sorry it's a shorter video. It would have been longer had I been able to prime. Oh, wait a second. And those are the Atom colors I'm going to use. Those are your typical, camo colors. We're going to start out with the yellowish color, and then we're going to move into the camo pattern. And then after that, I am going to try to use, for the first time, for the most part, is the washable white. So that will go on afterwards, so I won't use the hairspray technique. Ooh, we're at the end of the video. Alright, thanks for watching. As you can see up there on the screen, subscribe here if you want to, and I will see you in the next video.